Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are looking at the digital engine under the hood of your business. In 2026, many Canadian SMBs are stuck in a technical debt trap, relying on legacy systems that aren't just slow, but are actively preventing them from leveraging the power of AI. Joining us today is Chinkal Patel, partner at Mantrax Software Solutions. Chinkal is a cross functional leader with over 20 years of experience driving complex business and digital transformations across multiple sectors. With an MBA from Rotman and a background in chemical engineering, she co founded Mantrax to help businesses bridge the gap between strategy and execution. So, before further ado, let's dive in the episode. Chinkle, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks, Kripa. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, Chinkle, as someone who has worked from the plant floor to the C-suite, you see the unique pressures facing Canadian CIOs and CDOs today, right? So let's start the conversation by understanding what are the biggest software infrastructure challenges for SMB tech leaders in today's time. Go ahead.
Thanks, Kripa. For many of the tech leaders, the biggest challenge really is poor data governance, whether it's data silos or fragmented systems. Many small businesses, have multiple systems, whether it's a CRM and an ERP, marketing, HR might be operating on a different systems, finance might have its own system. So
Mhm.
what a recurring theme we see is that data is siloed across disconnect systems. And this problem is particularly amplified on businesses that are operating on custom proprietary legacy systems or really outdated ERP systems that might have outdated user interfaces, which also combines with compliance challenge. And at the what all this means really is that companies are not able to leverage emerging tech as
Mhm.
easy as other companies that may be a bit more forward in their digital maturity.
Yeah. So it's acting as a bottleneck for them, right? Not helping them go further in their journey. That's very rightly mentioned by you, Chinkle, because balancing tight operational constraints with the need for high level innovation is clearly defining hurdle for today's tech leaders. Now, moving ahead in the conversation, let's explore how businesses can, modernize legacy systems without disrupting operations. So, from your extensive experience, Chinkle, why are businesses, hesitant to modernize their legacy systems, and why is it so urgent now to act?
So the first question of why are businesses hesitant? There could be multiple factors.
Yeah.
Many businesses are, just busy, occupied, running day-to-day operations, right? And they have a fear of taking on a transformation that may bring unwanted disruption to operations. Um, in some cases, the IT or the subject matter expert or even leadership that may have implemented the legacy systems are very strongly attached to the legacy applications. Even though it might need a workaround, some things have been manual, it may not generate things as easy as they like reports, but they know how to use it and they've become used to it. Budget is always a concern, especially in this economy. People are watching must have versus nice to have. And
Yeah.
sometimes technology takes a back turn. Um, the other things that we see are, lack of in-house knowledge or capacity to even think about how we go about modernization. And one of the biggest things that we see really is, if IT subject matter experts or even departments or leadership have had a poor past experience, whether previous digital transformation or custom software development, went over budget, they longer than expected timelines, or didn't deliver the experience they're really hoping for, that can sit with people for a long time and become a reason why they don't move as fast as maybe they should. Um, and why it's urgent now really is, for many companies, legacy applications are blockers for AI adoptions. Companies can't really bolt on AI tools or even consider integration with AI tools if their systems are on legacy applications with scattered data. Cybersecurity is an increasing threat, and legacy systems are more exposed to them.
Right.
Above all, I think the last two things I'll mention, Kripa, is that opportunity cost is increasing. In every sector, technology is moving at a rapid pace, and your competition is likely leveraging AI to automate, to deliver better value, faster order to invoicing process. And if you're not leveraging the tools to add efficiency to your business, you may, run behind your competition, particularly for small businesses that are operating on proprietary software applications. If they're really outdated, it's not just an IT issue, but it could be really a business valuation issue. If you're a small business, and there are many of them today that are going to be thinking about exits or, growing,
Mhm.
a technical debt can lead to a poor valuation, because from an M&A perspective, the investors are going to look at, am I taking on a company that's going to require X amount of dollars to fix the software that runs the business or the systems, or is this business that I'm going to acquire ready to grow and everything's good to go in
Mhm.
place?
That was very informative, Chinkal. I think understanding that legacy systems are a barrier to entry for modern tools, makes that technical debt a risk that no business, can afford to ignore. So I'm sure a lot of our listeners will take a lot of knowledge from what you shared. Now, let's discuss how AI can be adopted securely without exposing sensitive data, because when it comes to privacy, that is a major concern in any economy, specifically in today's. So how exactly, Chinkle, does your model reduce risk and build confidence in software transformation? How's that journey?
Yeah, so in terms of, I'll jump on how we reduce risk and build confidence. So our delivery model is delivery structured to minimize the inherent risks that are present with custom software development. One, we take a vendor agnostic perspective. So any recommendations we bring to clients are always shaped by what's right for that business, not because it's a preferred technology or partnership that we have. We also operate in our client's infrastructure, meaning that if they have GitHub, Jira, or any other software tools, we're happy to work within them, or we will set up environments with our client's credential so they can have direct, uninterrupted access to the source code and project documentation throughout the engagement. Our clients also own the source code and the IP, which is at the end of the day is their technology. And that's a big point why how risk is reduced. And in terms of how we build confidence, well, we really strongly believe in taking a step back before going into solution design and encouraging businesses to either independently or with the help of an advisor to look at a complete discovery. What we mean is that, where is your business going in the short and long term? What
Right.
role is technology going to play? Because every sector is not impacted by technology at the same speed and to the same level.
Yeah.
You want to take the time to look at current processes and future processes to see how much can you automate. You also want to look at what are your customers and suppliers doing. In the e-commerce, logistics, distribution world, automation is a big thing. So if you're looking at modernizing your technology, you need to keep pace with your customers and suppliers.
Right. Again, a great reminder and very well articulated, because prioritizing data sovereignty ensures that Canadian businesses can innovate with AI without compromising their most valuable confidential information. Before we go any further, here's a special message for all of our listeners, especially for all the business owners watching. In 2026, AI is no longer a maybe, it's a must. But you don't have to sacrifice your data sovereignty to get there. Trinkle and the Mantrax team are proving that you can build secure, private LLMs that stay within your own walls. So don't let your legacy software be the reason you miss this revolution. The cost of doing nothing is higher than the cost of modernization. Take control of your IP, fix your architecture, and build a future where your technology is an asset, not a liability. Now, coming back to you, Chinkle, uh, let's look at how data sovereignty is shaping modern software development. When we talk about AI, I'd love for you to share with our audience and our listeners how exactly is Mantrax using AI, and what solutions are you guys delivering around artificial intelligence?
Yeah, so I think for us, on our perspective that we bring to client is, higher autonomy when
Mhm.
using agents is really a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, you want to leverage AI to make repetitive, high-volume tasks a breeze. On the other hand, you don't want to lose control and increase the risk of making your system reliable on tools. So we believe observability and privacy are a must when you're looking at AI. So our in Mantrax, our focus really is on developing solutions that have privacy baked into it at its core and include human in the loop systems. We are focused heavily on building systems which are vendor agnostic. So if the AI bubble indeed bursts at some point, you have a fallback and your system doesn't depend on a single vendor to remain in business.
Definitely, I think providing a vendor agnostic way to help handle private data, it allows SMBs to compete with giants while maintaining full ownership of their own intellectual property. That's very helpful. Now, before we get to the final question, let's do a little time travel. Imagine I were to give you a time machine right now and say we were to travel 5 or 10 years into the future. So when you get out of that time machine, how exactly do you envision AI changing the Canadian ecosystem and Mantrax playing a role in that?
Yeah, great question. So I think, private LLMs and AI models deployed within a controlled business environment is going to be a big play in this
Hmm.
marketplace because data data governance, data control, protecting a company's data because many companies obviously have R&D departments, right? Proprietary manufacturing data. You
Yeah.
don't want to put that data out there for third-party models to use it to train it or have it logged by third-party tools or leave your environment. So I believe, private LLMs where companies are deploying their own models within their own environment, whether that's on their server, their dedicated cloud instance, or through a provider that can contractually guarantee data isolation is going to be a big thing because this is going to solve a couple of challenges that we're seeing right now. One
Hmm.
is going to reduce the risk of data leakage, which is a big thing for companies.
Hmm.
It's going to help companies meet regulations and compliance. You're going to protect your intellectual property by controlling your data, and you're also going to give your employees tools because whether we like it or not, everybody knows about ChatGPT and Claude and all the other models, and your employees are using it to make their day-to-day job easier. So if you're not adopting AI tools in your environment, then there is the risk of shadow AI where your employees are using unapproved AI tools. So
Hmm.
companies are going to soon realize that, and in the next 5 year window, people are going to have their own AI tools that are protected and are within their environments.
You've painted quite a picture there, Chinkal. The future definitely looks very promising. And, let's see what the future entails. I'm loving this conversation, and definitely we'd love for you to be back. But before we let you go, if there's one final piece of advice, that you'd like to give to the companies who are still hesitant and, struggling with outdated legacy systems, um, what's that mindset shift advice that you'd like to give them? Go ahead.
I think you said it best, Kripa. Like, the cost of doing nothing is much more higher these days than the
Yeah.
cost of waiting. So, um, start the process. If you don't engage your internal team to do a discovery, take a look at, where are your legacy systems causing you challenges or your software applications? Do you have too much downtime? Are you doing too many manual workarounds? Are your employees, customers, or suppliers frustrated with manual operations? Where is the bottleneck from a system perspective that's preventing your businesses from growing or propelling forward or getting more efficient? Um, and start the discovery phase. It doesn't mean you need to start spending money right away, but have that conversation. Start it internally. Make sure you put a team together that can think without bias, and has a good understanding of all the technology solutions that are available in your industry. And if not, there's tons of advisors out there that can economically help you get that assessment started. But don't wait. AI is moving rapidly. There's emerging technologies that are going to be coming out with more efficient tools, and you're not going to be able to leverage those with speed if you're still operating on outdated systems with siloed data.
Wow, very well put. That is again a great reminder that the best time to modernize was yesterday, but the second best time is today. Chinkal, it was such a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Kripa. Thank you.
All right, that was Chinkal Patel from Mantrax Software Solutions, a masterclass on how to modernize your legacy systems and prepare your business for a secure AI driven future. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. And lastly, a very special thank you to our podcast partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMBs across Canada. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.